I have a question. What makes you happy in your life? Family, your friends, maybe your pets? Funny thing is, many of us are working paycheck to paycheck and do not have the time or the money to focus on what really makes us happy. I have another question. What do you spend your money on? Clothes, food, toys, decorations, all things that we buy regularly, but despite some instant gratification, are not really making us happy in the long run. So why do we buy it? Because at some point, the pursuit of happiness, of living the American dream, turned into the pursuit of stuff. We decided to keep up with the Joneses, thinking that it would give us the appearance of doing well, even though it was really bringing us down. We are born. We go to school. We graduate, get a job, buy a house, and then start spending our money on stuff to fill that house. We don't just buy things that keep us comfortable, like a bed, couch, and some blankets. No, we buy shelves. We buy knickknacks to put on those shelves. We buy picture frames. We buy words to decorate our homes, as if we would forget we were standing in the kitchen if we didn't spell it out on the wall. We buy new outfits. Jeans, t-shirts, dress shirts, slacks, sweaters, dresses, and sweatshirts. We buy piles of new shoes. Despite the fact that there are only 7 days in the week, according to Forbes, the average American woman fills her closet with 30 separate outfits. Essentially, we are happiest when we're doing fun things, when we are learning, when we are experiencing new places, and when we donate our time and money to good causes and helping others. But we have trapped ourselves into a cycle of working to buy stuff that we do not need and things that do not make us happy. This is the story of Stuff. Together we will explore those who are caught up in this consumerism tidal wave and follow those who have deviated from the consumerism norm. Together we will explore the American landscape of big box stores, shopping malls, and credit cards, asking ourselves, what is the true price of happiness?
Say what you want about America, land of the free, home of the brave. We got some dumbass motherfuckers floating around this country. Dumbass motherfuckers, you know? Yeah. It just seems to me, only a nation of unenlightened half-wits could have taken this beautiful place and turned it into what it is today, a shopping mall. A big fucking shopping mall. You know that? That's all you got. That's all you've got here, folks. Mile after mile of mall after mall. Many, many malls, major malls and mini malls. They put the mini malls in between the major malls. And in between the mini malls, they put the mini marts. And in between the mini marts, you got the car lots, gas stations, muffler shops, laundromats, cheap hotels, fast food joints, strip clubs, and dirty bookstores. America the Beautiful, one big transcontinental commercial cesspool. And how do the people feel about all this? How do the people feel about living in a coast-to-coast shopping mall? Well, they think it's just fucking dandy, you know?
Hi, I'm Amy, and this is the story of Stuff. I am at my local Target picking up a few essentials. You may not be able to tell right now, but Target actually gets 1.2 million daily visitors. The average person spends $62 every time they come into a Target, which to most is not exactly pocket change. You know what they say though, you come into Target for some razors and you leave with half the store. Maybe for some, $62 really isn't a whole lot to spend at Target. For example, have you ever heard of a Target haul?
Hey guys! Today we did damage at Target. It's our most favorite place in the world.
Yeah, if you want to see all the stuff I got at Target and some at TJ Maxx, then let's just get started.
Oh my gosh, I also didn't say that all of the zippers from this collection are little pineapples. And I know you can't see, but it's just so cute. I just love the way that they emphasize detail. This dress was $26. Like, do I even have to say anything else? I don't think so.
So I'm gonna get into everything that I purchased, and yeah, let's go ahead and dive right in. The first thing is something I didn't think I was gonna get, but I did because of the last one. I was like, grab it.
Hi everyone, it's Jesslyn and I have a massive Target haul. And I used some of the Christmas money to get some stuff from Target, which I cannot wait to show you guys what I got. So let's get started.
And yeah, so I also found this little wet or dry bag. I don't really know what I'm going to use it for, but I thought this was just really cool storage.
The last thing that I got was this water bottle. I have one currently from Blogilates, and it has like the lines on it to remind you to drink your water and to keep drinking it throughout the day.
All right, so another thing I picked up from the dollar spot, and this was $5, and I almost got one last time, but it is this little dollhouse looking shelf, and as you can see, it's got all these little compartments, but it is called a trinket shelf.
Oh, here, this is what I'm saying. Cupid is stupid. I was like, okay, they're pink though. They're all pink. I have to get them, but the Cupid is stupid thing is so stupid. Like, no, this saying's stupid.
I'll give you a minute. You might need it after seeing all that stupid. Remember to grab your receipt. Thanks. See you again soon. Look at that. I'm leaving Target with only spending $15. See, it can be done. But Target is not the only store that people do hauls on. I am willing to bet my next Target purchase that if the store exists, there is some kind of haul video in the dark recesses of the internet. Why? Because in America, we spend $35 billion more than what we earn.
All of the renters that we have, I would say 50% of the people start out short term, 100% of them rent long term. Yeah. So my name is Tom Altman, and I actually own a storage facility.
In the United States, there are 2.3 billion square feet of self-storage. 1 in 10 Americans currently rent at a self-storage facility. This is an astonishing fact, especially when you consider that home sizes are more than double what they were in the 1950s, with fewer people living in the home. RootStorage.com reports that 65% of self-storage users actually have a garage in their home. 47% have an attic and 33% have a basement. So if home sizes are bigger with less people living in them, why the need for self-storage?
I think there's 3 types of people that put things in storage. We have probably a third of our units are people that have like cars. Other group of people just don't have enough room, usually people that are renting from somewhere. And then the last group of people, transient type people, they're gonna just have it for a month or 2 until they do something else. The irony of that is that's some of the longest time people that we've had storage.
My name's Philip Kramer. Live here in Urbana, Iowa. Just recently moved. I have a wife and 3 daughters. The daughters are 15, 13, and 12. And yeah.
My name's Ben DeRoos, and my wife and I got married June of 2014. And then we actually just recently moved to Marion area, Cedar Rapids, just beginning here at the end of September, early October. And she's going to be the new youth director at Marion Methodist Church. So that's what brought me up here to Urbana and this area, but that's where we're at right now.
I originally got the storage unit because I have a Camaro and I didn't want to drive it in the winter, and my wife didn't want it parked in the garage because we already would have a Dodge Avenger and a Dodge Caravan in the garage that we wanted to park in there in the winter. So we got the unit to be able to park the Camaro. There's a little bit of everything in here right now, just because a lot of it is that we did move in the last 3 months, and it's just stuff that we haven't taken over to our new house yet. But there's probably clothes, there's books, there's toys, board games, suitcases, end tables, that type of just miscellaneous things. I'm sure there's way more than I even know that's in here.
So we got this storage unit because of how we were living in Vinton, actually. Everybody giving us things, and we were just like, we need some space to store our things, and our house was just kind of cluttered. And so moving into the new house, we said we don't want to be cluttered. We don't want to have stuff just kind of piled up in places. We want to actually be able to use our garage for storing our vehicles and not our stuff. And so that's why we opted to get a storage unit. And we chose this one because it was big enough for our stuff. At first I thought it was gonna be too big, and then we started getting our stuff in here, and I was like, okay, maybe this is the perfect size. It's convenient for us to have here because we can store our table like we have here, our kitchen table that we don't use right now, and our Christmas stuff, and just kind of other things we don't necessarily need. It's just convenient for us to have it for as long as we need, I guess.
According to Sparefoot.com, the national average cost to rent a storage unit is $87. Slate.com reports that the average American will rent their unit for 15 months. That adds up to $1,300 spent to store your stuff that you're not even using. If you had $1,300 laying around, what would you spend it on?
From a business perspective, storage units are pretty awesome because it's low maintenance and there's not a lot of work to be done on a day-to-day basis. So it's kind of an easy business to be in. At the same time, it's pretty good profits for what you get into it. You build the building, and then from then on there's some minor maintenance with doors and roofs and things like that, but very low impact for the business owner.
I don't think I could live without my cell phone. How many times have you heard this expression? People's obsession with their electronic devices goes way beyond living without their cell phone, however. Ed DeFort, director and editor of American Funeral Director magazine, says that more and more Americans are deciding to be buried with their cell phone. Brings a whole new meaning to, can you hear me now, doesn't it? However, I'd imagine if you're watching this documentary, you probably remember people living and dying without their cell phone. So what happened? When did such a convenience turn into an American consumerism obsession?
My name's Bo. My name's Wyatt.
And you said you're from Wisconsin, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So what made you come all the way here to get your iPhone?
Well, we know they were gonna have some in stock, and I figured this would be our best chance to get one. Yeah. It's actually the closest Apple store too, so it's kind of a trek, but whatever.
Hi, thank you. How long have you been waiting?
Hour.
An hour, okay.
Probably, yeah.
Those guys got here at 7 o'clock last night and waited outside. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
we stayed in the Marriott for getting this iPhone.
Yeah.
And we came at 4 o'clock in the morning, 4 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, and this line was already this big.
Yeah.
7 p.m.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know. So how long have you been getting iPhones?
Especially when it first came out.
Oh, really? So you guys are hardcore iPhone fans.
Hardcore. We got Apple, iPad, phone, computer at home,
Yeah.
Apple TV. We got them all.
All right. What made you decide to get a new one?
I just always have. I'm kind of a geek, so I always have to get the latest and greatest kind of.
I'm so pumped.
Yeah.
It's iPhone 10.
Yeah.
How can you not be pumped?
What are you most excited about?
What am I most excited about? I mean, a bigger screen and a smaller package, like craziness. That's so great. And I'm really excited to see how Face ID works. 'Cause I haven't even held one yet, so I just want to hold one in my hand and experience it for myself. It's gonna be great.
bored with the cell phone? If you have a cell phone, you probably also have a case and a screen protector. According to Statista.com, 79% of cell phone users have a case for their phone. Do you get bored with your case and have to buy a new one after a while?
Maybe you have one of those pop sockets, you know, so you don't drop your phone. I don't know what they're for. Jeez.
Do you have earbuds for your cell phone? A docking station? Portable speakers? An extra phone charger?
In 2012, there was $20 billion worldwide in revenue from cell phone accessories. In 2017, it is estimated to be around $38 billion. When asked what makes you happiest in your life, did you answer your cell phone? I'm guessing no. Consider that many people wish they had more time to do what they love. If you eliminate the time being spent doing mindless things on your smartphone, you gain back a lot of time. According to Statista.com, the average American spends almost 3 hours a day on their cell phone. That is 45 days a year. 45 days of doing something you don't really love to do. When it comes down to it, many of us spend our money without thinking. Is that purchase really going to better my life? Your cell phone can do a lot of things. You can talk, text, play music, play games. Yet, is that cell phone and all the accessories purchased just eating up time you could have been spending on other things that make you happier? By now, I hope you're starting to open your eyes a bit to consumerism. It's crazy how ingrained it is in our everyday lives. But not everybody is caught up in this purchasing cycle. I spoke with my friend Dave, who is a minimalist, to find out what led him to consuming less.
You know, I had experienced something interesting in college. When I was in college, I went to New York to study, sort of. It was more like go to a bunch of musical performances and, you know, shows and art galleries and stuff like that. Write about it, think about it. It was hardly studying. But anyway, I went to New York, and when I went to New York, I packed. I had these two suitcases that were more like giant bags with shoulder straps. And I had two of these giant bag suitcase things, and then a bag carry-on that was probably like that big. And I took these suitcases with me, and they were loaded with stuff that I thought I would need. Like, you know, I mean, I was going to be living in a sort of hotel type place, but it was, you know, you had a little refrigerator and a hot plate, you know, one of these little stovetop burner things that you plug into the wall, and so I had some pots and pans that I took with me, and a whole bunch of clothing, and I don't even know what else, but these things weighed a ton, these bags. And I hadn't really traveled a lot on my own, so I get off the plane, and man, these bags are heavy. Oh my God, they're heavy. I'm lugging them around. I have instructions on how I'm supposed to get to this place. I'm supposed to take a bus, so I lug these things to the bus. And, you know, I get to where I'm supposed to go. I take a taxi to the hotel. But the worst was when I had to come back. I was so stupid. I should have just taken a taxi all the way to the airport. Instead, I think, you know what? I don't have any money. I'm cheap. So I don't want to spend any money. I'm gonna take these suitcases and I'm gonna go through the subway. I'm gonna take the subway back to the airport. Oh my God, that was the stupidest thing I'd ever done. Going through the subway with 3 huge suitcases strapped to your shoulders. I was like lugging them. People would come up to me and be like, "Hey man, can I help you with that?" And I'd be like, I wanted to say, "Yes, please help me." And I'm like, it's New York. What if they steal my suitcase? And what I guess what I learned from that was, good God, having stuff just weighs you down. It's just so hard to move, to live, to do anything when you have all this stuff.
Let me ask you once again, what makes you happy? According to a 2017 Harris poll, only 33% of Americans surveyed said that they were happy. When happiness is related to stuff or keeping up with the Joneses, it's easy to see why we're not a happier society. Consider what is thought of as normal. Normal is getting dressed in clothes that you buy for work, driving through traffic in a car that you are still paying for in order to get to the job that you need so you can pay for the clothes, car, and the house that you leave empty all day in order to afford to live in it. People fall into this cycle, this consumerism addiction, without even realizing it. Have you ever heard of the law of diminishing marginal utility? It basically means the second piece of pie never tastes as good as the first.
So I'm Sarah, and I am a resident of Cedar Rapids. I grew up here. I'm very dedicated to the community because I do believe that those who are plugged into the community can give their best to those around them. So I care a lot about the city of Cedar Rapids. I care about the space, and that of course includes the nonprofit sector.
Psychologist Richard Ryan explains, we keep looking outside ourselves for satisfactions that can really only come from within. In the human species, happiness comes from intrinsic goals, like love. Extrinsic goals, such as wealth and fame, are surrogate goals, often pursued by people as they try to fill themselves up from the outside in. Surveys have found that more and more people are actually spending time on things they don't want to do. One survey showed that 65% of people say that they spend their leisure time doing things that they don't enjoy. Again, what makes you happy? Why not start focusing on the things that make you happy, giving yourself a more fulfilling and meaningful life?
I was reading a book, this was a couple months back, and I starred the page in the book because the quote really meant a lot to me, and it's from a Nobel Peace Prize winner. His name is Albert, I'm probably going to hurt his last name here, Albert Schweitzer. I'll have to give you the spelling so that you know who it is. And he said that those who are going to be truly happy in life are those who have sought and found a way to serve others. And so that's what really, for me, it hits most home to my heart, because I know that when I can give my time, usually it's often my time or my talent, to an organization, or to, even if it's I'm helping an individual, I leave that experience knowing that I've given in some way, and I really believe in leaving a place or a person better than when you found them or when you interacted with them. And so when I can give my time or my talent to a certain organization or to an individual, it really helps me know that I'm making that difference, I'm making that impact, and I hope to encourage someone else or inspire someone else to do the same.
Psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi spent decades interviewing people from all over the world and found a universal human goal: optimal experience. This is when ego falls away and time just flies. Csikszentmihalyi found that people are happiest when they're pursuing leisure activities that require few material resources. Getting back with nature, gardening, hanging out with family and friends, even biking. These may require a few material resources, but they all require a lot of psychic energy.
So I went to college and studied music, And however, when I got done with college, then of course reality hits you, and you're like, oh crap, I have to actually survive now. I have to make money on my own. And so I took a job at a call center, and this was like, I did not need to go to college to have this job. I mean, it was minimum wage work basically, and I worked at that place for 4 years, and I lived in a tiny little apartment. It was in a nice kind of cool area. It was wooded, there was this woods, and I worked in the late afternoon and evening and night. So in the mornings, every day, I'd go out to the woods, and there was this little creek out there, and I'd sit beside the creek and I'd read or just think, listen to the birds and the squirrels and whatnot. And so I did that for 4 years. And I was really happy. I didn't have a lot of stuff. I didn't buy decorations. I remember I went out to the woods, and in the woods there were these vines, and some of them, of course, were dead and dried up on the ground, and I just picked up a bunch of vines and wrapped some twine around it and stuck it on the wall, and that was my decoration. The apartment had a fireplace, and I loved to just get logs and throw them in the fire in the winter and just sit beside the fire, and I would just listen to music, and that was what I did. It was great.
When you break it down, it really is this simple. Investing in nature, being around my friends and family, doing the hobbies and the things that I love will make me happy in my life. It doesn't get any simpler than that. And you can do these things at any time of the year. Though many people think the perfect time to invest in themselves and invest in others is around the American holiday. However, where do I even begin with the American holiday? Pretty much every major holiday in the United States has been fully commercialized. Even the ones that would be considered more minor are now the perfect poster child for a big sale. Let's start with the beginning of the year, New Year's Day. This day has become a bargain shopper dream come true. Take the Dillard sale, for example, 50% off already clearanced out prices. And it's not just Dillard's that does this sale. Many stores throughout the mall have similar sales going on. Shortly after New Year's Day comes the Super Bowl, which according to the National Retail Federation, the average American will spend $81.17 on the Super Bowl, which adds up to a total of $15.3 billion. Easter is another commercialized holiday. In 2015, Americans spent $16.4 billion on Easter-related goods. Over $7 billion is now spent on the 4th of July, according to the National Retail Federation. That breaks down into $5 million in flag sales, which are mostly imported from China, $388 million on hamburger patties, $389 million on barbecue chicken, $133 million on buns, and $37 million on ketchup. $568 million will be spent on wine and over $1 billion on beer. And of course, what 4th of July would be complete without spending over $800 million on fireworks? And guess what? We're only halfway through the year. We cannot forget about Labor Day sales, where the average American will spend $58. Halloween will bring in $8.4 billion nationwide. And the average American will spend $165.14 on Thanksgiving expenses, according to Lend.edu. Then, before the turkey is even digested, we will quickly turn from grateful to greedy and spend over $5 billion in 24 hours on more stuff we do not need. In 2017, we spent 16.9% more than 2016. In 2017, more than 200,000 toys were sold in just the first 5 hours of Black Friday. But you know, with Christmas around the corner and the average American spending over $700 on gifts and goodies, totaling more than $465 billion in 2017, we have to make sure that we save a little bit so everyone can have a nice Christmas. By the way, the average child gets over 70 new toys a year. Merry Christmas. So are you feeling overwhelmed? Maybe you're taking a look at your own spending habits and questioning what got you there. I know I did. I would find myself in a store picking up something and asking myself, is this something that's really going to make me happy? Most of the time, I put it back on the shelf. I remember my biggest eye-opening moment. I was at home cleaning and organizing, and I decided I need to go to Target to pick up some storage bins. As I was at the store, filling my cart full of plastic tubs, I realized, wow, if I'm really buying plastic storage to store my things, do I really need them? I put the bins back on the shelf, and I went home and I purged.
Sorry, Bubler.
In the past 6 months, I have taken carloads of items to Goodwill. My house is becoming clutter-free. And as for my closet, well, there's half as many clothes on here that there used to be. And I'm not buying anything new until the old is worn out. I have a lot more time on my hands now too. On the weekends I used to spend my time cleaning and organizing. Now I have time to ride my bike, read more, play some video games, spend time with my husband. Freeing myself from consuming has really been a game changer. I'm not asking you to make major life changes. Maybe you watched this documentary and thought, hey, that's not me, or who cares? If that's you, that's okay. Thanks for watching. But maybe you did find some value. Maybe you're looking to make some changes in your life. So here's your chance. Read some books, do your own research. Take some inventory on your life and how you spend your time and money, and ask yourself, is this really making me happy?